I remember the first time I saw The Wire. The black actors would often say, "You feel me? You feel me?" And I was just sort of blown away by that because our way of, do you understand me?
Yeah.
No.
Right. Oh, I didn't think about that, the difference between head and heart.
Absolutely. You feel me?
Welcome, everyone, to The Pour, the place where faith and culture are served together. My name is Father Christian, and today we're going to be talking about how do you expand your mind about God by knowing the other. And the other person on the side of this table right now is Darcy Weir. Yay! Where is a Darcy Weir? She's right here is a Darcy Weir. And because Darcy Weir is one of the smartest people we know here at St. Mary's, she has an illustrious career of studying ancient and classical languages. And she's had this pull to know, quote unquote, the other. And we're going to define that term. We are just so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
So, today the drink that I chose for Miss Darcy is Olipop of ginger ale. Ginger you take.
I like ginger.
You like?
It's very good for you. Yeah.
Okay, so let's try this. Cheers.
Cheers. That's pretty good.
That's some ginger.
Yeah, it's real ginger.
Darcy, a little bit about you is that you did your undergraduate and graduate work in classical languages. Mm-hmm. So you were studying Latin and Greek and multiple iterations of Greek, like you studied demonic Greek? Demotic, of the demos, that means, of the people, like democracy, the demos. Tom and I thought we were talking about demons on the show.
Demons, well, no.
Well,
but that's what you probably studied in seminary.
Demons?
No, Koine Greek, the common Greek, the demotic Greek. That's what you would be required, not Attic Greek, like the Greek
Atticus
that
Finch.
Plato. That's To Kill a Mockingbird, right?
Another
book. Or Homeric Greek, that Homer used to write the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Yes.
So there are these different iterations that you do get exposed to. And I discovered when I went to Greece that none of that was any help at all with modern Greek, which is very different.
It absolutely did not help you to
I
ask
could read
for where
signs.
the bathroom is.
No, it didn't.
You actually got to go and live in Paris and actually study, because art is a big pull on your heart. And you went to the school at the Louvre, the School de Louvre?
L'École du Louvre.
L'École de Louvre. And you studied classic art?
Some of it was classic art. In fact, I started with classical sculpture.
And did you ever go forward and then get into like more comic books?
No, not really. I can't say I
love how you
am.
honored that question and didn't look at me like I'm just an idiot.
No, because, with our first movie night that we had at the 10th Street Center, we did do Black Panther.
Yes.
And so, Marvel, and I had to kind of acclimate my mind to that, and
good for you for having an
Get in
open
the
mind.
groove.
Darcy and I have worked together a lot at this church and done really fun and enjoyable work of seeing how God is pulling us to stretch our boundaries and to know our neighbors. Many of our neighbors who don't look like us, maybe think like us, maybe believe like us, and found it extremely fruitful. And so some of those things that have been done is a thing called Breaking Bread, where we meet with, we bring an imam and a rabbi, and we pick topics that are going to stir up the nest a little bit. And Darcy's incredible about cultivating and developing a process that we do where there's a lot of respect and love and curiosity. Mm-hmm. And it seemed to really hit a chord, and a really good, fruitful chord, because people were very curious about the other, that being our Jewish neighbors and our Muslim neighbors.
Absolutely. They know very little, particularly about the Muslim faith, and so they love the imam. They love to question him.
Because we were getting like almost 200 people for each of these 3 to 5 week
They love
series.
the sheikh as well. Both were extremely charming.
Yes.
Just so warm and inviting. So learning about the other, they made it easy. I mean, you really wanted to just because of their personalities.
Then there's been these prayer walks we've done with the black churches across the street. We now exist in a post-segregationalist community, so there's a history here of a dividing line.
Yeah.
There's sundown towns that surround us. And so what has that been like to do these prayer walks or movie nights?
Or Sacred Ground, which is the Episcopal Church's program devised for exactly that, talks about race. One of the questions is, how often do you talk about race in your family or at home? And most white people don't talk about race. We don't sit down and have a racial discussion.
Right.
The black people that were participating every day. You don't talk about it every day? And no. So it's this amazing divide.
Wow.
And then, as we've talked about before, it was a revelation to me that a lot of black women get their hair touched by white people who are intrigued but feel like that person is an object, so that they can just reach across at the Publix and say, how do you wash your hair? With those braids, do you wash it? Who does
It's sort of
that?
like what pregnant women feel like on the daily when people feel it's okay to come over and start feeling up their stomach.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
Exactly. There's a boundary that should exist, and for some people doesn't.
this walk, what has this done from a faith perspective for us? You know, we've studied other religions and had conversations with other religious leaders. We have walked and formed a relationship with black churches. From a faith perspective in your journey with Jesus, where's your faith exist in all this, or how has it been challenged or grown?
It has expanded me, for sure, beyond my little boundaries as a white woman who grew up in privilege, to see a whole different walk of life with much more struggle and many more obstacles. I think to be able to at least understand that is huge. I mean, is that not what Jesus was doing, like with the Samaritan woman at the well? He knew what she was going through. He wasn't condemning her, but saying, you know, you've had 5 husbands. So let's be honest with each other. And he just, you know, it's a level playing field then. When you know you're not being threatened, and you know you're not being judged, and you can be honest then. And I think St. Mary's benefits enormously when we reach out in that way, when we accept, and when we're curious, when we say, tell me about it. You know, it's like, I remember the first time I saw The Wire. The black actors would often say, you feel me? Feel me? And I was just sort of blown away by that, because our way of, do you understand me?
Yeah.
No.
Right. Oh, I didn't think about that, the difference between head and heart.
Absolutely. You feel me?
Oh, wow.
And it's the same. That's why language has always intrigued me. Greek has 4 words for love, and we
Right.
just have the one.
Sure.
Because love for your animal or your best friend or your husband or for God, they're all different. And the more you get to know other cultures, the more you see, oh, there's a whole other texture there. You feel me?
Yeah. What a trip, you know, just coming from the heart. Why do you have this hunger? Because you do a lot of it with the interfaith work.
I'm passionate about Christ, about Jesus, and bringing people to Christ. And I think one of the best ways of doing that is through art, whether it's through film or through paintings, sculpture. I think people feel somewhat intimidated at times by Scripture, by the Bible, quoting Scripture, asking them to get into that. But if you couple that with images,
Sure.
people feel okay about commenting about the art. So it's always kind of my secret agenda to expose people to art that's been inspired by the faith. And then you can kind of segue into talking about Jesus. And that helps people make the next step.
Your pursuit of knowing art and sharing art and using it as a tool for people to find faith or understand their faith. Is there a connection between that and how you at this church have been instrumental in being part of the ministry of saying, let's learn about these other denominations that are related to other cultures, whether it's Bahamian, Caribbean, African American?
Well, there's a direct line there, and I think it is thanks to you. You saw an interest or a gift or whatever in me because you had seen me do art classes and stuff, coupling it was an adult Sunday school class. But then you must have sensed that I have a sort of broad range of interests, so you asked me about getting involved in Sacred Ground, which is the Episcopal Church's course on race and racism.
Was that the moment for you, taking Sacred Ground, that helped kind of give you this hunger?
Well, it had started with prayer walks and stuff, because you had initiated that,
But why'd you do the prayer walk?
Growing up in Florida, you see the divide between black and white, and it's wrong. There should not be that divide. Yes, you can appreciate cultural differences and admire one another, but we shouldn't be segregated, if you will. I grew up in segregation. I'm old enough to remember those times, the integration of schools, and I thought it was a great initiative. Why in the world did East Stuart exist just as this island away from all this white territory? It's just bizarre.
How has it helped you, your understanding of God?
Well, God is ineffable. There are so many facets. So I think the more you broaden your understanding of humanity, of the world, everything, you're getting different facets of God.
Yeah.
If you just stay in your own little lane, you're going to have a God that's about the size of that little lane.
Oh, that's good.
You feel me? You run into this, there's another whole way of doing life. Yeah. Oh, that way.
Yeah.
That's another sign of God, you know?
To your point, our ineffable God that is beyond boundaries, why wouldn't we want to go see all the different ways to understand, know, worship,
exactly,
study Him, right? There's these beauties. So I ask this question of everyone who comes on the show, is where will the church be in 25 years?
The piece of it is diversity, is opening ourselves up to the other. I think that is something that makes St. Mary's extremely inviting to people, that we are so welcoming that way. But I also think there's a craving for a kind of order, a form into which you can put your love for God. You cannot have beauty without form.
Ooh, you're dropping some microphones today, man.
Shakespearean sonnet isn't the same if it's just formless.
Right.
It's forced into a kind of container. Our expression of our faith needs some structure. So I think that'll be a part of our great diversification and our growing. People are craving a kind of order within their freedom.
Yes.
We have something other to offer.
Yes. With the goal of knowing this beautiful, expansive God that is formless, but we offer the form without legalism.
We have liturgy.
Yes.
We have a lectionary.
We have a belief system.
Yeah.
A creed.
Exactly. That's enough to think about, period.
Sure. Now, to sum this all up, I'm going to pull a random book from behind me, and I am going to want you to, on a scale of 1 to 10, your likelihood of reading this book, okay?
Okay.
All right, tell me when to stop.
Stop.
The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer.
Maybe.
One more try. All right, tell me when to stop.
Now.
Nocturne by Ed McBain.
With a martini glass on the front. I might be intrigued.
Okay, that's only $2 at this store, okay? And for the final one, ready, set, go.
And stop.
Whoa, I was hoping this would happen. Pope Joan, a novel. The idea that there was a female pope at one point who disguised herself as a man.
I don't think women need to be stimulated this way. Hey, you had a female pope, so that makes your sex pretty cool, actually, the gender. Give me a break.
I love interviewing strong, independent women like you or like my mother and their take on some of the feminist takes on things. I will stay out of that argument, of course. So cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for coming. Please do subscribe, like, and share with your friends about these great stories and folks that we have on here talking about how we expand our faith and our understanding of God as we look at culture and faith together here on The Pour at St. Mary's Church. Peace.
Peace.
This is going to be the first time we're going to have Pat chanting, do some editing.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Be overlaid with guitar licks.
Really?